as human being that I am in Georgina, while I'm always like that in my life. I'm always been beside the best coaches in the world, Zidane, Ancelotti, Mourinho, Fernando Santos, Allegri. They are not the same of my generation. It's part of the life, you know, the new generation and the new technologies that avoid
the terrible loss of your little baby boy.
To be honest, Piers, it's something that I don't understand. It's the new coaches that coming around, they think they find the last in the desert, which is I don't understand. The football there invents many years. So, but I respect any coach have a different approach, different opinions, different mentality, but kind of some points that you not agree. So I'm always like that in my life. I'm always been beside the best coaches in the world, Zidane, Ancelotti, Mourinho, Fernando Santos, Allegri. So I had kind of some experience because I learned from them. And when you see some coaches that they're coming, that they want to revolution the football, I not agree. I have my opinion. They agree or they disagree, but it's part of the business because in the end of the day, I'm in a club to win. And with my experience, I want to help, like always. And some coaches that don't accept, and you know, it's part of the job.
Did he know what he was doing, Rangnick, or not? At a club like United?
No, they don't. They knew the club very well, but they don't know the dimension of the club inside, the history of the club. Which is for me surprised me even more, which is when the soccer, all these Solskjaer, you should bring a top manager, not sport director.
Did you think it was right to get rid of Solskjaer, or would you have kept him on?
Well, it's not. Well, I love Solskjaer. I think he was a top person because what I keep inside my heart, it's the heart of the persons, and Ole for me is a top person. Coach, of course. He wasn't. He didn't look for what he wants. It's hard to assume after Sir Alex Ferguson, but I think he did a good job. For sure, he need more time. But I'm never doubt that he's gonna be a good coach in the future. But it was a good experience. I was so pleased to work with him, even a short period.
What about the younger players? And specifically their mentality, because it seemed to me, just from what I was reading, when you were originally at Manchester United as a young 18-year-old, that you had huge respect for the older players, the Keanes and these guys in the dressing room, and you would soak up their experience, their wisdom and so on. Did you get that same respect, do you think, from the younger players?
I don't mean that they don't respect the experienced players or the oldest players. I don't think that word is the best one, but they live in a different era. I can see my kid, they have 12 years old. The mentality, they are not the same. They are not suffer that.
What's the difference?
The anger. I think the anger. I think that they have the things more easily. Everything it's easily. They don't suffer. And I think they don't care. I don't mean only a few in Manchester United, but all the teams, all leagues in the world, the youngers, they are not the same of my generation. But we cannot blame them because it's part of the life, you know, the new generation and the new technologies that avoid, they distract them for another thing. So, but they are not the same. They listen, but this is why we have 2 years. You listen from one side and they go away from another side. So don't surprise me, but in the same way, it's a little bit shame because if they have the best examples in front of your eyes and if they don't at least copy what you did for me, it's kind of weird because I remember when I was 18, 19, 20s, I'm always look to see the best players, Van Nistelrooy, Ferdinand, Roy Keane, and Giggs. This is why I have the successful that I have and longevity, because I take care of my body, my mentality, my head, because I see these guys and I learn from them.
When you try and give advice to these younger players, what do you say to them? What do you try and guide them to be like?
I think the best advice, I'm not the kind of guy to like to give advice. I prefer to be as example.
Yes.
Because I'm an example. I'm there every morning. I do the same stuff. I'm probably the first ones to arrive and the last ones to go out. I think the details speak for itself. So, because as I told you before, they listen one thing and in 2 minutes they already forgot and do it whatever they think it's better. This is why I say I like to lead by example. And some ones they follow me, not much, but
see, I just find that incredible. That if I was a young footballer and I had Cristiano Ronaldo at my club, that I wouldn't want to spend every second watching him, listening to him, observing the way you go about your business. And yet, from what you're saying, clearly, they're not interested.
They don't care. Some ones yes, but most of them no. But for me, it's not surprise me. Don't surprise me because they're not gonna have longevity careers, in my opinion. It's impossible. It's impossible to see, for example, my generation, you see many players, they reach 36, 37, 38 in a high level. I think this generation, you're gonna count by your hands how many gonna reach in that level, because this years of preparation helps a lot.
Who are the players in the world that you most admire for their mental strength, their attitude?
It's difficult question because I'm always can say what I see from my eyes. For example, if you tell me what I see, for example, in Manchester United, I can mention probably Dalot, Diogo Dalot. His example is young, but he's very, very professional. And I'm not doubt that he's gonna have longevity in the football because he's young, he's smart, intelligent, and he's very professional. You have a few ones more, but like him, it's difficult to see. Probably Martinez, Casemiro's 30s, but I will say Dalot.
So Rangnick's come then, it's your second manager, it's not working, the results aren't great. You're still scoring goals regularly for Manchester United. You're about the only one who is. But then you get hit by an awful episode in your life, probably the worst time of your life, where your partner, Georgina, she's pregnant with twins and is actually giving birth to these 2 babies. And your baby son doesn't survive. And I don't think I can imagine, I have 4 kids, you have a lot of children. You know, you can't imagine a worse thing to happen than to go a full term of a pregnancy, particularly for the poor mother in that case, but also for you. What was that like for you, that time in your life?
It's probably the worst moment that I passed through my life since my father died. You know, when you have a kid, that you expect that everything will be normal, and you have that problem. It's hard, you know, as human being that I am. Me and Georgina, we had quite difficult moments because we don't understand why it happened to us. Was difficult, to be honest. Was very, very difficult to understand what's going on in that period of our life. As you know, the football carry on. They are so fast, many competitions. The football don't stop. We have many competitions. And pass through in that moment was probably the most difficult moment that I had in my life. Me and my family, especially Gio, that was tough.
She said she was giving an interview about the new series of her TV show. And she said in an interview, a big piece of my heart shattered. And I asked myself how I could carry on. I had the answer nearer than I thought. I looked into the eyes of my children, and there I saw the only way of doing it, being all together.
Yeah, I saw too. Yeah, this is why what we did. I grew up my family, especially Gio, and we had the difficult moments, but we said, listen, we have more kids. We have one that born, Bella, that we have to be happy too.
I mean, such a difficult situation again, where you're mourning the terrible loss of your little baby boy, but also celebrating the birth of your beautiful daughter.
I try to explain sometimes to my family and even my close friends. They say, I never felt to be happy and sad in the same moment.
Yes.
I never felt. It is hard to explain.
So difficult.
So difficult. You don't know if you cry or you don't know if you smile.
Yes.
Because it's something that you don't know how to react. You don't know what to do, to be honest. And of course, I remember very well that I look like, I don't know the word that to define what I felt in that moment, but it's crazy feelings, it's crazy emotional. But as I told you before, I have to hold that we had at least Bella,
yes,
which is the most important. One die and one survive, but it's difficult to explain.
How did you explain it all to your other children? They must have been so confused about it.
In the beginning, Gio arriving home and the kids start to say, where's another baby, where's another baby? Of course, Cristiano, I had conversation with him in the day, because he's 12 years old, he knows, he understands everything. And I had a nice conversation with him. We cried together in his bedroom, and he explained, and it's kind of, he didn't understand. He understand, but in the same way, he was a little bit confused. The other ones in the beginning, in the table, the kids start to say, Mom, where is the other baby, blah, blah, blah. And Gio, in the beginning, they start to say, because, you know, she had a little bit belly, because they had two, it's hard process. And after 1 week, I say, you know, let's be frontal, let's be honest with the kids. Let's say that Angel, which is the name, they go to the heaven. It's better to say in that way.
Yeah.
And we start to use in that way, and the kids always understand when we had shots in the table, and they say, Daddy, I did this for Angel, and they point out for the sky, which is I say, and I like it the most, because you know, it's part of the lives, and I'm not gonna lie to my kids to say the truth, which was a difficult process, but in the same way, I become more father, more friendly of them. They become more close to his daddy, especially me with Georgine as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, because these things, they can make or break relationships, because the grief can be so intense. It can drive couples apart, or it can bring them closer.
In my case, it was better in that way. I become more friendly of Gio. I was of course friend, but I see more lovely for her and for my kids, and I start to see the life with a different perspective. You understand? Which is coming the point of, if you're gonna ask me for sure, the pre-season moments.
Yes.
For example, why I didn't go to the pre-season.
Yes, I'm going to come to that.
But it was just to finish in that chapter was the most difficult moment. The last, since my dad died, it was this moment that I passed through the last 6 months.
Do you feel your son is with you in spirit? Do you feel
For sure. Ashes is with me, like my daddy. They are here in my house. Yes. It's something that I want to hold for the rest of my life. I'm not thrown to the ocean or to the sea. I keep with me. They are next to my daddy. I don't know if you check, I have a small church down. And
you do?
Yes, I do.
Like a little chapel?
Yes, chapel, and I keep my daddy and my son.
Do you talk to them?
Yes, I do. I talk with them every time, and that they are in my side. They are, they help me to be a better man, to be a better person, to be a better father. And it's something that I'm really, really proud that the message that they send me, especially my son.